sort of trying to mislead the public or anything like that and saying this was not part of the plan, because I don't think it was part of the plan until he decided to send that tweet this morning.
Let's talk about the intersection between Robert Mueller, Jeff Sessions, and Don McGahn. We have this reporting from the New York Times back in March. McGahn carried out all the president's orders and lobbied Mr. Sessions to remain in charge of the Russia inquiry, according to two people with knowledge of the episode. Mr. McGahn was unsuccessful, and the president erupted in anger in front of numerous White House officials, saying he needed his attorney general to protect him. Mr. Trump said he had expected his top law enforcement official to safeguard him the way he believed Robert F. Kennedy, as Attorney General, had done for his brother John F. Kennedy and Eric Holder had for Barack Obama. Then there was this idea that McGahn was going to resign because the president was telling him to tell the New York Times their reporting was not true, and the New York Times reported this very fact.
Right. You know, once again, Trump is viewing his attorney general as someone who's supposed to protect him personally, and he's viewing apparently the White House counsel as someone who is supposed to carry out his personal orders like this. And neither of those things are true or the way that it should be. And the fact that both of these men, you can, whatever else you may agree or disagree with what they are doing or have done, they both seem to be loyal to their office, right? Sessions is, nope, I recused properly. This is what I'm doing. This is what the Justice Department guidelines require me to do. McGahn's, apparently taking the position that I'm not going to carry out these ridiculous orders that Trump is trying to impose on Sessions to get him unrecuse himself. And that's why one is sort of being forced out and one is likely to be fired.
Sessions is also somebody who is a witness in Robert Mueller's probe. It's not just McGahn.
Yeah, so we're looking increasingly now at an unchecked president and no one left to even try to balance his actions out. And if that happens, the domino effect may start. So he's talking increasingly about getting rid of Sessions. We're hearing prominent Republican senators kind of giving the blessing for that. And the danger signal to me is we're hearing people say, well, as long as he picks an attorney general who lets Mueller finish. Letting Mueller finish is only half the equation. How you properly deal with Mueller's report, Mueller's potential request to subpoena the president for interview, Mueller's potential request for permission to indict a sitting president. If a new attorney general is there and he's a lackey for this president, look out.
Is he going to be a lackey for this president, Phil? I mean, you already have Senate Republicans saying that Sessions' firing is inevitable. What are the guardrails that they're putting up to keep the president from putting in place a lackey? I know although Senator Lindsey Graham has talked about this is inevitable, there are senators like Ben Sasse who say, hey, listen, hold your horses, Mr. President.
Yeah, well, it's all in the details, and they've not really revealed what the details are of those guardrails. One point to add to what Frank was just listing is the issue of resources, whether the new attorney general would fully fund the Mueller operation, allow him to have the resources, to have the staff and the research ability that he needs to complete his report. They can say they're going to let Mueller complete the report, but then put up all sorts of obstructions to him doing the kind of work that he needs to do to finish out his mandate as the special counsel, and there's a real danger there, and it's not something that very many of the Senate Republicans have articulated in full. There's an expectation that there would be a confirmation hearing for a new attorney general, and I expect a number of these Republican senators, especially Sasse, for example, to really drill down on this with the new attorney general and get them on the record on some of these points. But there's also speculation that there could be a recess appointment, that Trump could decide to replace the AG while Congress is away during the recess before the elections or soon thereafter, and therefore avoid Senate confirmation.
And Robert, what about this idea, if he has a new AG who doesn't have to recuse himself, does that mean that Donald Trump tries then to get rid of Robert Mueller and move this investigation into the DOJ proper?
He could certainly move to get rid of the Mueller investigation, but he's being warned by White House officials like McGahn and members of the Capitol Hill Republican Party, Republicans on Capitol Hill, to not do it. That would cause a constitutional crisis, whether it was before the midterms or after the midterms. But the president, it just continues to vent behind the scenes based on our reporting that he wants more control. Even if he doesn't get rid of it, he wants more control. So maybe having an attorney general who's not recused would give him that feeling, even if that wasn't really the reality.
You know, Katie, I think we're just one bad day and one tweet away from a new attorney general who's going to try to dismantle everything Mueller has done. And I think Mueller's increasingly sensitized to that. I think there are plans being put in place, what I call a prosecutorial parachute with maybe sealed cases tied up in bows for certain state, U.S. State district attorneys' offices and various U.S. attorneys around the United States. But the clock is ticking. Something's going to happen.
So they're going to pass things off, you think, maybe to places like the SDNY?
I think that's the plan B if Mueller doesn't get sufficient time or he's so constrained that he can't do what he needs to do.
Does Mueller take a hiatus for the next 2 months before the elections? There's been debate about this.
Yeah, knowing what I know about Mueller, having worked with him, he'll be sensitive to the fact that we have midterm elections coming, but he will not feel constrained by that.
Phil Rucker, Robert Costa, thank you very much. Mimi Roca, thank you as well. Coming up just hours after a stunning